Alright guys, Pit Bike Mike doing test ride number 2 on the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 in the blue and white. At least this time compared to the Continental, at least I'm matching, which is going to be nice. So let's throw a leg over and see what we see. So 350, nice and low seat height, feet are flat on the ground, which is nice. Let's see. How do we start this thing up? So it's in neutral. Oh, look at that. Isn't that kind of cool? So analog for tack, or not tack, the speedometer. We got fuel gauge, eco. Feels kind of neat. It's going to be interesting to see how it is once we actually get on the road, which hopefully is before too long, because I'm sweating. The humidity is brutal. Kind of cool that let's see. Oh, so that little button behind right here switches the trip info. Like you have these little dials that do the pass, all that, which is nice. Has a very strong feeling clutch. It's heavy, but in a good way. Should be an interesting little ride. Alright, we are off. Well, there we go. Look at that. And it does have a gear position indicator, which is kind of nice on this thing. That is a pretty nice little feature on this. Because the Continental GT did not have a gear position indicator. So, first impressions. Even though this thing has only 20 horsepower, according to the chart, feels pretty decent. I'm trying to think of how to compare it to the KLX 230, because that's kind of similar to horsepower, because that has about 19 compared to this 20. Definitely the KLX feels peppier, probably also because it has a 6-speed transmission and compared to a 5-speed, but so far, not a bad feeling. Pretty comfortable seat. Like I said, a decently low seat height. The brakes, well, they're brakes. They work. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of feeling to these brakes. You know, it's not like you have a whole lot of responsiveness. It's just they're just kind of there. Finds neutral pretty easy. It's definitely interesting that when it goes into neutral on this bike, it says gear 0 instead of N. But it's definitely interesting. I don't know if it's just because I'm also around other people, but it's definitely kind of trying to, like, you know, with the KLX you can kind of like know when it's time to shift. I don't know, it's definitely different. Like, definitely a tachometer would be pretty cool for this bike, just cause like it'd probably just be nice. But it's pretty cool so far. Yeah, that, like, I'm grabbing a good bit of front brake, and it just, it's not like it's trying to yank me over the bars. Like, it's just, like, they work. Like, they obviously stop you in whatever time frame you need to be stopped in, but I don't know. I guess I'm just used to like a lot grippier brakes, because these are something called Bybre, B-Y-B-R-E. So one thing I will mention, even though, like, you know, these things are supposed to be pretty reliable, like, I know, like, you know, as being demo bikes, they're ridden pretty hard, but they actually had 2 of these bikes already in the shop at the place. One of them was the Continental GT 650, and the other one's a Scram. So, you know, take with that as you want, but, you know, those are bikes that have already been in the shop. They brought the 650 back pretty quick. Oh, look at that, it's raining again. At least it's going to cool us down a fair bit. Nothing like getting a little bit of rain. And like I said, I'll try to check the GoPro here and there. You know, if I can, I'll try to wipe it off or something. No promises as of yet. We have a slow person right here. Come on, keep it nice and tight. Oh yeah, nice and tight. Believe it or not, they actually gave out like free stuff, which one of them is a rag, so I'm probably gonna pull that out hopefully at the next stoplight or something, and maybe wipe my camera off. I don't know, we'll see. So I got it pinned right now, 3rd gear. I'll admit it, the rain actually does feel kind of good right now. It really does, because of how hot it's been. You know, like the humidity and all that. Once it starts to dry up, this is just brutal. Honestly, this isn't a bad little bike. You know, for the price point, like, you know, if let's just say you were upgrading from like a Grom or something, like, this wouldn't be bad. It's like, I still don't know about the highway capability of this thing, because, you know, we haven't really hit those type of speeds just yet, but it's not bad at all. It's kind of a neat little bike. It is definitely a neat little bike. And it's comfortable. I'll admit that too. Like, the seat has a nice perch on it where, like, you kind of, I don't know, it's squishy. It almost feels like a gel seat or something like that. It's really nice. I can't complain one little bit so far about the comfort of these bikes. You know, like, it's different because, like, I know, like, probably in, like, I can't say I know, but like being in India where like the roads are a lot smaller and closer together to where there's not the type of high speeds like we do here in the States, I can definitely see why these are popular. Like the comfort and just the seating position's really not bad on these. Like, it just feels good to be on. Like, I'm fairly impressed, honestly. I am fairly impressed. I got almost a 60 that time. Like so with the KLX 230, because that's going to be my closest comparison. The KLX 230, that thing it'll hit the limiter at 75, and it'll do it all day, which is pretty impressive off of that bike. Like because of how heavy this thing is, like, because this is almost like a 400-pound bike, it definitely. With it being a 400-something pound bike, almost, like, I'll submit I'll upload the photo of this thing so you can see, but like, it is a heavy bike, but like, yeah, I guess it's enough to like, I don't know how to do it sustained 70 mile an hour for an extended period, but you know, like, all in all, not hateful. But yeah, I gotta say, I've really been enjoying getting to do all these demo days. This has been a really fortuitous year for me. Got them beautiful downshift rev matching. Yeah, I gotta say, not a bad little bike for the price point. Like, it's not the best thing in the world, but you know what? It seems pretty cool. And it's kind of funny because, like, when you look at like the Continental GT for that one right there, these Hunter 350s actually have like what it looks like, at least visually, a wider rear tire, which is definitely an interesting little. It's definitely interesting. You would think that they would have put the wider rear tire on the 650, but I guess it is how it is. I'll admit it'd be kind of cool to feel like what it would be like to go through like the twisties around my area that I know about, but like I can feel like the little single cylinder thump on this thing. Dun, 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 dun. It's kind of neat. It's not a bad feeling. I'll admit the shifter does feel better in the 650 than this. Like, this one still doesn't have a bad shifter at all, don't get me wrong. It's a really nice shifter, but I definitely think the one on the 650 felt a little bit better. But like, it's very smooth, like it's not very clunky, it has very smooth gear changes, you know, so I really can't complain. Like, Royal Enfield is definitely it's kind of impressive. It's definitely impressive for what these things are. I still stand behind, I don't know about having it as like a primary bike, but like as a second or a tertiary bike would be pretty nice. I gotta say, the pipe on this thing isn't a bad sounding pipe either for being a stock little pipe. Like, it sounds throaty enough to where, like, you probably, if you really didn't want to, you probably wouldn't have to actually swap it out, which is definitely saying something, because like, there's not many stock pipes that you're just like, oh man, I'll actually like the sound of that. You know what's interesting, now that I'm looking at this bike that's in front of me, is it has LED turn signals, and it looks like LED brake light, but the the cafe style, the 650 Continental, those all look like they're still like the halogen, you know. Interesting. Smells like clutch. I wonder who's burning the clutch. Somebody's burning the clutch on these things. But all in all, yeah, definitely a nice upgrade. Like, I think if my girlfriend really wanted to, like, after like getting like confident with her Grommen, was looking for something like this, you know what, I wouldn't tell her no about this if she was like, you know what, I think I want one. And you know what, that's saying something. That I definitely wouldn't be like, you know, like it's not a bad little bike. It really isn't. Like, I kind of actually find myself liking this thing a little bit, that's kind of cool. It's definitely kind of cool, and I guess a good you know, good pit bike you know, guarantee or something like that. Not guarantee, but like, you know, if it's good enough for the pit bike. Alright, well, let's end it off there for the test ride of the Hunter 350.